Sabotage!
Wait,
this is Jeff.
What? This is David.
I started early.
Oh, no.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to panic. Ah!
We're playing Nioh.
Yeah.
This is the last video.
Okay.
This is the encounter on the other shore, where you have to fight both of the Nobinagas at once.
Okay.
It is very difficult, David.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. So you got to fight Oda Nobunaga and Yuki Onna.
Yep. Yep. So this is the you have to fight them unto their death. Well, I mean, well, they knock you out. But
Okay. You got hit though.
Yes, this is not a no damage guide. This is a advantage to beat it guide.
Yeah. So
all of the same, they use the same moves as they do in the fights previously. So
right.
It's a matter of attacking. I mean, the way I prefer to do it is it's a matter of attacking Nobunaga while always watching Yuki Onna. Trying not to have the situation right here where she's behind you.
Right.
Which is usually fine because I think they are for the most part less aggressive than they are normally by themselves.
It seems like it, yeah.
It's also you also have a very, very large and flat arena to work with.
Right.
Great. The cheeses that you can do with Nobunaga we'll be doing some of. Which,
that didn't work.
Yeah, got out of position there, but that's all right. You can shoot him in the face, it knocks him down.
Right.
Shoot with arrows. Parrying, of course, is great. I don't know. Maybe it'd be easier to do Yuki Onna first. I find Nobunaga harder. I find her to be very easy. So, like in this case, the strategy was to, after he knocked him down, don't have enough time for a full combo on him, especially when she was so close. So just walked in order to bait out an attack.
Right.
And so they could go in with the stab.
Right.
So when they're close together, it's not ideal.
No, it seems like you actually hit her more than anything.
Yeah, but Nobunaga's got his dash attacks and whatnot, so he's got plenty of space to. You can draw him out easily.
Right. So, I mean, his ice attacks are pretty much her ice attacks, right?
Yes.
Okay.
When he has ice mode on, he uses the same sort of ice homing shotgun thing.
Right. All right.
So many attempts. Now the reason I only had the three elixirs is because if you use elixirs, they're gone. You can farm for them, but if you use them all up and they're gone, except for 3, you always start with 3.
Right.
So
that's your.
Like, all right, let's do it with 3. Shot him in the face.
Yeah. You did. Interesting. Oh no! It looks like he's about to phase change.
Got my back in the wrong spot.
So did he just phase change?
No, he's been in his
oh, okay.
His second phase. I don't know if he has a first phase in this one.
Okay, because he did say a thing, so.
No, he just has he fights the same way. Where,
okay.
He'll pick random elemental affinities from his peacock. And then keep cycling through them. And then once he does a super, it runs out, so his sword is no longer on fire or on lightning
or on earth or on
water or on earth. Yeah. So as the case may be.
I feel like you did shoot him in the head there.
I did shoot him in the head. There was some head shooting.
But there was a peacock in the way, I guess.
Because there's probably some invincibility getting those things out.
Right. So, how do you access this fight, Jeff?
Stupid wind. When you unlock the last, well, after you beat the mission with Orochi. So you have access to the final Tower of London mission, the last of the super bosses or super boss encounters open up. This is one of the 2 that was there for sort of like the base game. Okay. And then in the DLCs, they added other extremely long boss rush type missions. Right. Where you have to fight I forgot one. It's like a 3-person fight where you have to fight Okatsu and the other ninja guy. There's a 3rd one though. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of them where it's like just putting random combos of bosses or one where you have to one after the other, fight all of the weapon masters in the dojo, etc., etc.
Right. Okay.
And those are just for, hey, I shot him, he did.
Hey.
Or, you know, well, he
he faded away.
He's defeated.
All right.
Now it's just now it's just fighting her by herself. Not a big deal, unfortunately.
Right. So, and this is the same as the last boss fight. So
yes, it was the same as the fighting her before.
Right. Okay. So do you get hit by her at all during this phase?
I mean, probably.
Yeah. Okay. So, is she pretty much in phase 2 the whole time, or?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe so. Phase 2. No, she's not.
All right. Phase 2 is
phase
when she does
yeah,
the next stab.
The dash. Yeah, the dash grab stab.
Yeah.
Thing, which we'll get to shortly.
Right.
The other of the multi fights was the actual where the name of the game comes from. So it was the Nioh.
What
is the other one?
The game comes from a thing? The name of the game comes from a thing?
Nioh, I think Nioh means the two kings. I guess I should probably check on that using the internet. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'll check it later. But
are you? Did you fight like Tokugawa and Ueda?
I don't think it was Ueda. Toyotomi.
Toyotomi. That's what it was. Sorry.
No, that is not the case.
Okay.
You fight the two generals of Tokugawa. I forget again which one was the one that was Ieyasu.
Yeah. Well, it's Ieyasu Tokugawa.
Okay, Tokugawa. I think you fight two of his generals. Because one of them is it's a Munishige and one of the spear guys. Let's see which one was the spear guy. No, it was a spear guy and an axe guy. I think it was a spear guy.
Well, axe guys are easy, so.
Yeah. So it's a double fight where you fight Munishige in his the real Munishige in his mission, where our intro breathing comes from.
Right.
You fight him in that arena, but it's a 2-on-1 with him and one of the spear users who I'm forgetting at the moment. Maybe it was Honda.
Okay.
Maybe it was Honda. I'll just use the internet.
Just use the internet. It's right there.
I'm just gonna quickly. Let's see. Nioh.
So, can you shoot Yukiona in the face? Does that stun her?
She's a yokai.
Oh, so no.
I mean, human looking for
right.
the most part, but is a yokai boss for the considerations of face shooting.
Right. You just felt like shooting her. Okay.
Let's see. Okay, yes. Nioh is Tachibana Minishige and Honda Tadakatsu.
Okay.
Actually, one here. Meaning the word. Apparently means benevolent.
Benevolent king. Okay. So, why is that the name of that fight?
Let's see. I thought that was the name for those two generals.
That actually deals a lot of damage. Huh. Oh, but now you're out of rifle shot. Oh, you don't get to shoot her.
There are some other rifle shots that are that you can find in the environment. So like some of those broken spots on the ground.
Right, they have rifle ammo in them. Wow, you're
yeah,
almost dead.
I don't have health left.
Yeah, there's no elixirs. And you got her.
Yeah.
Yeah. You beat the super boss.
I did. That was very difficult.
Yeah.
David.
That looked really hard.
You notice that there are some green items in the background.
What is green?
This is another feature of beating Kelly. Is that you get a new rarity. So that's Divine Tier. That's actually one of the cool things at the end of the game. Divine Tier has extra benefits, like you can roll stats onto the armor like you could for the weapons.
Oh, okay.
And you can pass stats down, and There's like a whole separate divine forge mechanic where you can get divine pieces and, you know, get new effects on your armor. And they've just expanded that kind of stuff. I assume that in the other DLCs, they, of course, added new weapon types. And I assume maybe new rarities for those. But green was the highest, at least in the base game.
Right.
So those are the things that would start dropping. They could drop at any level after you had cleared Kelly.
Okay. It just adds it as a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. That's
It's a good video game.
It's a real
David.
I didn't say it wasn't, Jeff.
Okay.
I fell off a little bit, but it was still fun while I played it. It's just other things came up, like Destiny 2 and Stardew Valley and Stellaris.
And Stellaris and wait, what was the other one?
Dead Cells.
Factorio.
Well, Factorio is eternal. Factorio is forever.
Of course.
And Dead Cells.
Breath of Fire 2.
Breath of Fire 2. I did play a bit of that, yeah. I always go back to it.
I don't know for sure, but I'm going to assume Final Fantasy Tactics.
No, I didn't, actually.
Oh, okay.
I didn't play
right.
that, which is
What
weird.
restraint?
I normally do. I haven't played that in like a year. I should go back and play it again.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
very good.
That's a game I've sunk maybe more time than anything else into. But
Nioh is done.
Nioh's done.
We're done with Nioh.
If you've enjoyed our journey through Nioh, feel free to go to Patreon where you can support us every month. Or if you can't do that, go to PayPal. You can give us a tip. If you can't do that, then tell people about us, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's done.
It was nice and short and sweet.
Yeah.
Unlike the amount of time spent on these extremely long series of videos. There is more Nioh if you like Nioh.
There's a lot more Nioh.
The complete edition was released on PC. Apparently it's good.
Yep.
It has all the 3 DLC packs. I've only played the first of the DLC packs because I also fell off of Nioh, you know, after putting in like 100 hours or whatever. I feel like I got my money's worth, so...
To state again,
you know,
you recorded all of these videos like in the first month after it came out, and we have just been slowly getting them out there. So
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's a good game. Are we going to talk about what we're doing next?
Sure. A little bit more about Nioh. Nioh is a great video game. It makes me excited for Team Ninja. I was like, oh, good. Those people can make good video games. They don't have to have that Itagaki around. It's like, this is a win-win situation. We get good video games, and he's not around anymore.
Yay! Why do you dislike him so much? I'm trying to remember.
I mean, he's kind of a misogynistic piece of crap.
Oh, right. He's the reason for all the giant boobs.
Well, he's not the reason for giant boobs.
In the ninja,
in the case of Team Ninja, he's let's say the progenitor of the modern Japanese sensibility of boob physics, among other things.
Was he at all involved in Metroid Other M?
I don't know.
Or was that just Yoshio Sakamoto, who just like
Sakamoto is
really screwed the pooch on that one?
So yeah, I don't care for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden 2 are bad video games. Fight me.
I won't, because I agree with you. Well, I wouldn't say they're bad. I would say that they're fine.
I don't like them compared to Devil May Cry, Bayonetta.
I don't like them compared to every other third-person action game in the same vein, because the Ninja Gaiden games that I have played, once you get to a certain difficulty, you are punished for not doing the same 3 moves over and over again.
That is my main complaint.
Yeah.
It's a game with a very weirdly low camera.
There's that.
And then eventually, bosses can parry everything and have ads with exploding shurikens, and you just have to unlimited technique and Azuna drop your way to victory. But whatever. I feel like I've mentioned this before. We don't have to talk about video games I don't like. We can talk about video games I do like.
Like Nioh.
Nioh is very good.
Nioh is very good.
Go out and play more Nioh. There's plenty of Nioh to play.
There's
a fun having samurai stabbing time.
Right. And we can keep talking about other games that we do like, I wasn't going to say that one specifically. It is downloaded on my PS4 though.
Just okay.
It did download.
Video games. What are you playing?
Yeah, I played a bunch of Dead Cells. I really like that game. I told you
I like that game a lot as well. I think I might like that game more than you, but that's okay.
It's a game that while I'm playing it, I really enjoy it, and then when I think about playing it again, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should play something else. For reasons that I talked about with you, but it's just one of those things where it's like, this is a really well-made game. It is really fun, and when I'm doing well at it, I feel unstoppable. And then when I don't do well at it, I feel like the biggest klutz. So,
very, very stoppable.
Yes, very stoppable. The most stoppable.
The most stoppable.
But, I've also been playing a little bit of Stellaris, which is, great. I spend more time, I think, making up my fake sci-fi space races than I do playing the game because I find that really fun. But, it's still a really good game. Mm-hmm. Factorio is eternal.
Always and forever. Always be optimizing.
Yep. And if you're going to play Breath of Fire 2, play the Super Nintendo version. The Game Boy version looks like butt.
If you want to get caught up on Breath of Fire, the AGDQ run for Breath of Fire 1 is very good.
Yes, it is.
Wait, no. Is that from AGDQ?
That's from...
I'm thinking of RPG Limit Break.
You're not even thinking of RPG Limit Break. You are thinking of...
the RPG Limit Break channel, which also had the Breath of Fire relay on it.
Which had all the Breath of Fires. RPG Limit Break had Dragon Quarter, which was also very good.
Now, I remember one of them did have a Breath of Fire, and I don't remember if it was Breath of Fire 1. The guy who does Breath of Fire 1 is very entertaining, so I don't remember his name at the moment. But
yes, he's very good at it.
He's the one with the duck.
He's the one with the duck, yes.
Just to remember.
He has a duck sound bound to his controller. And when people ask him why, he's like, "There's just a duck in here. It's just came like that. It's a good controller, though. It just has a duck."
It's a good controller, but it just comes with a duck.
Yeah, it's
like, I don't know if we're gonna make it. I don't know if we're gonna make it through this section. We really need some good RNG here. Let's ask the duck. Thank you, duck.
Thank you, duck. Yeah, but no, Breath of Fire 2 is really good. The translation has some issues, but otherwise, it's a good game. I
played 135 hours of Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Now, I thought, Jeff. I thought we had agreed that Xenoblade was bad. Why did you betray my trust?
I have very strong negative feelings towards the first Xenoblade Chronicles game. This is true. It is known. I feel like a known quantity.
We mentioned it way back in the Doom 64 Let's Play.
I do not like the characters, their voices, or any of the things they say and do. This is problematic for a game that goes on for many hundreds of hours.
Right.
I will say that the things that were good in Xenoblade Chronicles 1 are the things that are still good in 2, which is environment and music. It looks great. It's just a great fantasy world to be in.
Let's get going.
And Yasunori Mitsuda. So
right.
Doing that music
right.
Now he technically was like music director and contributed tracks, but then also there's other composers too, so it wasn't just like him alone. So I think he did like maybe 20% of the songs in the game personally, and there's other composers doing stuff. There's a lot of music in the game,
right?
But you can tell when you hit a Mitsuda track,
right? Because it's a Mitsuda track and they're all great.
Yeah, you can. It's like you have like a little trill or a fall down a few scale degrees, and then it immediately jumps up a fifth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just like the core. When I hear that, I'm like, oh, that's a Mitsuda track.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe the people that were working with him, like he was directing well enough that they're like, okay, we know how to make a Mitsuda track. Let's do it.
So, if for those not musically inclined, just think of the part of the Chrono Trigger theme song. Dun, 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 dun. That sort of last interval is like a fifth, I think. But just like that particular variations of that particular motif run throughout. So if you hear that, you're like, that's Masuda.
Now just go.
really just want to learn a lot about Chrono Trigger music and Mitsuda and a few other composers in general, there's an, what is it, 8-Bit Theory?
I think so.
There's an 8-Bit Theory.
8-Bit Music Theory? Yeah.
8-Bit Music Theory, something like that. Going over the Chrono Trigger. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, that one's really good. That one was with, what was it, it's not atonal, it's like a chordal music, something like that?
It is, well, it's when there's no chord center, but hold on. I'm just going to look up the title of it.
Yeah, it's 8-Bit Music Theory.
Chrono Trigger. Who's going to get there first?
Non-functional harmony in Chrono
Non-functional harmony in Chrono Trigger, yes. Non-functional harmony.
My Googs won.
Your Googs were better. Yeah,
my Googs won.
So functional harmony, just like real quick, functional harmony is harmony based around your key center and your chord structure and all that. Non-functional is when you're just like, you know what? It.
Yeah, just slap them together. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah, that's non-functional harmony, and Chrono Trigger is a lot of that. And when you
a lot, I'm still playing Xenoblade. Yeah.
Is it still good? Is it still good?
Yeah, I kind of love that game a lot.
So are the characters good?
We can't. Yes, this is the. Let's say there is much to talk. We can't right now.
We can't. We can't.
No.
We have
a
podcast to do at the end of every episode. We can't.
I understand, but like, it would be too long.
Oh, okay.
It would be too long. I have many thoughts on many parts of the game. The way it's designed, the way it's laid out, the way that Japanese culture just needs to maybe die in a few places. But
ooh,
it's like, but the characters are great. So even though the main character is a, like, plucky, optimistic orphan, it's gonna save the world, as you do.
Right. As is expected.
Just like here's a twist. He has a job, and he's good at it.
He's competent?
Yeah.
Weird.
I was like, what? You have a main character that's just like has a skill as a trade, and occasionally when he talks to other people, like, they say like, hey, how's it going? Implying that there was some sort of life outside of the bounds of the story that's being told.
That's not how RPGs work.
It's like, what? Come on.
No. Everything is somehow sterile and without history or future.
There's a surprising amount of good dialogue between your main characters. I feel like some of the complaints about the game are they're valid, but ultimately, I don't know. These are emotional reactions. So the fact that I was like, all right, I want to play a JRPG. I want to hear some Mitsuda music. I want to explore this beautiful fantasy land of, huge titans and continents and stuff. I was like, but I really don't like that first game, like, a lot, for various reasons.
For good reasons.
Let's say for good reasons, too. But then it was just, there's anime happening. I'm like, that's fine. I enjoy anime. To a certain extent. I like some of the there's pacing problems, not just with this, but with, like, the genre.
Yeah, that's
and I actually don't even mean the anime, like, action or shonen genre. I mean more like a type of action movie or adventure movie, like, whatever. Even Indiana Jones has similar problems. It's okay. I will not allude to it. I will just tell you the problem with adventure movies.
Okay,
is that there's a MacGuffin, and good guys and bad guys need MacGuffin, and there is no plot. So that's true of all adventure movies, because it's good guys going through crazy adventures to get a MacGuffin, but there's no twist or there's no drama unless bad guys get MacGuffin. So that's what always happens. So bad guys get MacGuffin,
yeah.
So that good guys can get MacGuffin back at final end. Like,
right.
That's how it goes. But it's frustrating because that's how it always goes, and that's how it has to go. So if you have like an ancient weapon that if you collect the magical MacGuffins, it unlocks the weapon. That weapon is going to get unlocked, because it would be an extremely boring story. It would be Lost Odyssey 1 if it didn't happen that way. But then there's a sense of futility to the main characters. Like, what is the actual plot? You just come up to these points and you're like, well, I mean, we can't have a story until the bad guys of the story get the thing and do something with it so that we can stop them. Up until that point, it's basically just spinning your wheels. This is the kind of the idea behind, like I said, Indiana Jones, of like, if it wasn't there, the Nazis would have like found the Ark and all killed themselves still. Or maybe they wouldn't have found it. I mean,
maybe they wouldn't have found it.
Anyways, that is a criticism of the genre as a whole. That has there's problems with that when you mix it with anime shonen tropes of people powering up, and there's a simple idea of how do you get characters out of locations, because you want to have, in order to have story and conflict, you have to have characters interact in some way. And if you want to have villains that are more than just like a name, you have to have them interact some way. With the main characters. I mean, you can do it in such a way that you just have cutscenes that are just showing the villains and what they're doing, which that happens too, but it's not nearly as compelling. They just invent new characters for the villains to talk amongst themselves so they can have motivations, although most of the time it ends up not being motivations so much as just like vaguely talking to each other about foreshadowing, as if they know that the audience is listening and they can't reveal anything.
Yeah, well, that is a staple of not just the genre, but Xenogears itself.
Sure,
it was very big on that.
But when you have an encounter with a villain and you want that villain to basically be the main villain, and assuming that you're not just going to kill them and they're literally gone from the story, how do you resolve that in a game that has a story that goes for over 100 hours? It's like, they have to get away somehow. Either the main characters get away because they're beaten, or the villains get away because they're beaten, defeated, but not. You have to have some reason that separates them. And like the laziest kind of reasons is just like, we anime fought and then you were about to lose, but then you powered up and you're like, oh, they're stronger than we thought. And then they just kind of like walk away. Right. Or they just like call a helicopter and fly away, or they hit a magic transport button, or you have to get them together and separate them. And the elegance of this is a lost art, or maybe it's not a lost art so much as something that's not paid attention too much.
Wait, I got it.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so I got two options.
Okay.
You can do the Witches of Kerez option, or you can do the Black Company option. Now, these are both books. So I know I'm going outside of the medium here, but
what is that?
It's Dead Tree. You take a bunch of dead tree and you make it real thin, and then you write on it, and then you read those words.
You write on it like by hand.
No, you have a machine that does it for you.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So you can do a printing press. Anyway, so the Black Company idea is everyone's a villain, and so it's not unrealistic that the heroes interact with the villains, and there's no like combat there. It's just like Black Company. The conceit is the Black Company is a mercenary outfit that is hired by the bad guys to beat the good guys in the war. And so you get,
and then is also made in game form as myth. the bunch of game myth.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, except you play as the good guys in myth, like the quote unquote good guys, because even the good guys are kind of terrible. But like you get to know all of the villains fairly well in Black Company, because everybody sucks, so it's fine. Or The Witches of Kerez, which is a very lighthearted book that's completely tonal shift by James H. Schmidt. Black Company is by Glenn Cook, where there is a crime lord who they're like, how can this crime lord like do all this stuff? No one man can do it. Well, it turns out he's a septipod. Nope, that means 7 legs. He's a septiclone, heptaclone, okay, something like that. So it's essentially one mind controlling multiple different bodies.
Okay.
So, like, let's say you have the villain interact with the main character, and then the main character kills the villain. It's like, well, that sucks. And then, but wait, he's still here. Why is yay, we did it, but why is the villain still here? It's like, oh, because he's just got a lot of him.
Yeah. Which, if we were to talk about Nioh briefly, is a plot point in Nioh that is not leveraged for that in the game.
Right, which when
So
you
it's
said there are
explaining
multiple
that there are
Kellys, I was
multiple
like,
Kellys, but you don't ever fight and kill Kelly. You just chase after him, and he teleports away. That's the way that it's handled in Nioh.
right, which is why I didn't want to use Nioh as an example, because it botched it.
Even though it is there in the story that they told, like that as being a possibility of like you catch up to him and kill him, and then he comes back, and then you could wonder why that was, and then find out later. But that doesn't happen until it just is just like an info dump right at the last, very, very last mission of the game. But which makes it like, okay, well, does it even matter at that point? It's just like, okay, sure.
Or I got it. Third option, even harder. The hardest thing to do. Make your villains reasonable human beings.
I would also say Gurren Lagann is an option.
Okay.
So Gurren Lagann is great and amazing and the best anime.
Yes.
But it's also the best paced story.
Yeah.
Because if you want to learn how to pace a story and have reversals and dramatic tension and just like awesome things happening.
Escalation.
Escalation. So their solution is we're going to go fight the bad guy now. And we're going to resolve this plot now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to last. This fight will be the end. And then you'll find out something else.
Right.
Like there will be, a revelation or a twist or something that expands the story.
Until the very end when the story gets compressed and finished.
It continues to expand and expand and expand. It starts underground and expands into the universe, and it comes back down again to the same person you started with, basically.
Into a single pivotal.
It's so good.
It's
that's
so
the
good.
shape of the story. The thing is that it keeps expanding before it crashes back down.
And it expands at a certain pace, and then when it crashes back down, collapses back to its single point, it takes the entire series to expand and comes back to that single point in like 7 seconds. Yes. And it's perfect. So you can also do that.
I use Gurren Lagann for a number of reasons. One, because it is shown in anime.
Yep.
So this is an example of the pacing done right in the genre, of which Xenoblade is a lot of things in common with.
Mm-hmm.
But Xenoblade, like I said, the pacing of the story can be annoying in such that you only have one villains and you just catch up to them, and you have a MacGuffin, so they want the MacGuffin,
right?
But the MacGuffin doesn't, because it's the MacGuffin in this case is sentient, so it's like, I don't want to go with you. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll fight, and then like, oh, we're beating you, and then anime power up, like unlocked. Not final form, because then later on it'll happen again, and then you can unlock final form, and then it's fine. It's made up for it with good characters, despite the fact that the villains and the way you interact with them is kind of lame. It adds political intrigue. It's not like full-on Final Fantasy Tactics, but you have different continents that are going to war, and their reasonings for going to war with each other are reasonable because of dwindling resources. There's just not enough space left for anyone to live. And all these things come together. It gives a good reason why the main character wants to, quote, save the world. What he wants is to make sure that there is actual livable, arable land that human beings can live on, and it doesn't literally sink beneath the clouds, causing extinction.
That sounds reasonable.
Right. It's reasonable. It's instead of just like a generic, like, I don't know, there's bad things and
we want the world to be a happy place. No, it's like, we don't want the world to stop.
Yeah, we don't want to continue surviving, continue living. Yeah. So, is a mixture of those things. Very enjoyable. It's surprising to me, maybe the most.
That you actually like that game.
I like it so much. It took me a long time to try and give that game a shot, but I'm like, okay, there's a confluence here of events, like got a Switch for Christmas and like want to play some games on it, and like that is a game that I am interested in the pedigree of, if not the one that had the same name as it.
Right.
It's like, I like what they do. There's also a timeliness to the completeness of the game, because it is a game, like I said, I've been playing it for 135 hours. I'm not done with it, although I feel like I'm at the end.
Huh.
It's a game that is very, very massive. I mean, whether or not you enjoy what you do in the game, I suppose, is up to personal taste. I personally like running around and fighting monsters and doing side quests and, training up weapons and filling out skill trees and doing all these kinds of like collectible stuff, whatever. But whether or not you enjoy that, there is a completeness to the game that is just like, it's like not done. It's just a huge game, and you think, oh, this is probably the end, and they're like, no, here's a whole new world, a new continent to explore with music and characters and cutscenes and voice acting and stuff. It's like, oh, that's so nice. It's a video game that lasts like forever.
Well, speaking
so there's like no distance, no, I don't have to. There's no loot boxes. There's no DLC. There's no like, kind of like retrospective at the end where it's kind of like, I mean it's that it doesn't fall into the Xenogears trap of like, it seems like maybe the story was bigger than the budget.
It seems like maybe Final Fantasy VIII took all the money. It seems like that. Money. Maybe the whole team too.
So I appreciate the completeness and the grand scale of everything that's happening. Even if at all that time, some of the complaints I had was a little bit more specific to fetishization and sexual objectification and
still Japan.
It's still Japan.
Still Japan. Yep.
Unfortunately, is
you could hope, but yeah.
Fortunately, is not. Well, pervasive depends on, I guess, opinion to a certain extent.
Right.
A very large game with lots of characters in it, so you don't have to focus on that if you don't want to.
But you can.
I choose not.
They make it very much an option.
Also, just because a character has large breasts doesn't mean that they're not a real character.
Right.
So that's not the problem.
Right. It's just they decided that this real good character had to have this trapping on it to make it interesting, because otherwise you would talk to a lady.
Yes, I mean it's more in the sense of the camera direction and stuff. It's just like, hey, it's like well, we're gonna have two characters talk to each other. It's like, why don't we just like show boobs and stuff? I'm like, okay, that's not really. I don't feel like that's appropriate for the tone of the scene, but sure, why not? You go do you.
Okay, Lollipop Chainsaw, that's great.
I feel like in this case, Lollipop Chainsaw is more pure because it's more obviously exploitative.
It's trying very hard to be exploitative. It's not trying.
But that's definitely the tone. Whether or not it's successful, we'll say not. But not a surprise.
So you've been playing a lot of that game now.
Yeah. I also play a lot of Monster Hunter.
I was about to. Yeah, I was gonna.
I can't. It's 37 minutes in, and I'm like only a third of the way through things I can talk about Xenoblade. So, Monster Hunter is so good. It's my favorite.
Yeah. You see, you start
Nioh
talking
is
about.
done. We're done.
You were done with Nioh.
Wait, we're done. We're done with Nioh. Nioh's over. We can play other things. We can play Monster Hunter. I can maybe do a video on Xenoblade. We'll see what happens. We can do other things.
Right.
We'll have more Transformers. We'll get that done. We have for some reason we decided to do a podcast. This is kind of a podcast, but
right. But an actual podcast,
an actual real podcast. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. It requires time and editing, like everything does.
Right. But this is a thing that once you've done it once, you can send me the things you did, and then I can do the editing.
Yes, hopefully so. That sounds nice. Then I can do video editing, some audio editing on the side, and it'll all be grand.
Yeah.
The end.
The end. Nioh.